Hello and welcome to this tutorial about how to create your own portion of the metaverse. It's just an online space where multiple people can get together and experience the same digital content at the same time. So you could, for example, host a art exhibition and talk about the artworks to the visitors in the exhibition. So this tool that I'm using is called Frame VR. There are lots of tools that create metaverse-like experiences, and I've chosen Frame VR because I like the security settings it's got. Teachers, I highly recommend that when students are creating their account, that you make sure that you are the admin for any space they create. It's part of your duty of care, I think, to be able to go into those spaces and inspect them before they are open to the general public. All right, so let's have a look at the one that I've made. This is a very, very simple space, and I've chosen a simple demonstration so that everybody from year 7 and up can get started exploring building the metaverse. So I've used 2 different types of technologies. So this is a 360-degree photosphere as my background environment. But then I wanted to create a floor, just so that people felt like they were walking on something other than the mud of this Patagonia riverbank. And you can see I've used, you'll probably recognize that texture. I've used Minecraft Education Edition to create a platform for people to walk on. It's a very, very simple platform, which is why I'm showing it to you. Now, this meeting bench over here and the trees, these were 3D assets that are freely available in Frame VR, and I've just popped them here to give you an idea. I could, for example, put a PowerPoint up on that wall. I could put a video up on that wall. I could put some documents. I've got some 3D models here. Of course, I could put more 3D models, both my own and ones that I've downloaded. Like I said, this is a very simple example of one corner of the metaverse, and I want to show you now how I've done this. So the first thing I'm going to do is jump over into Minecraft Education Edition, and we're going to create that floor space and then export it. And then we're going to Frame VR and choose an empty environment, upload our photosphere, and insert our floor space. Alrighty, welcome to Minecraft. You can see that I've generated just a flat world. Because I'm just using this as a design tool, I don't need to have a natural looking environment. It's just a flat world. And I'm going to need to use the Minecraft Education Edition structure block. Now, the structure block doesn't exist in your normal inventory. So when you open it up, even in creative mode, you won't find it in the list of all these blocks. You've got to use a command in order to get a structure block for yourself or to give one to somebody else. And of course, to use commands, make sure you head into settings, and under the game settings, first of all, you need to be in creative mode. So make sure both of those, the game mode and your personal mode, are as creative. But then when you scroll down, you also need to be have the cheats turned on. And I've got it turned on to always day because it's just irritating if it goes to nighttime. So those are 2 things that you need to make sure that you have. And then you hit enter and type in the command /give@p structure_block, hit enter, and one of those will pop up into your inventory. And then I'm going to just place it down on the ground, and you see those bounding boxes. Just ignore the build in the distance. You'll see this boundary box. Now, the maximum size that you can have is 64 by 64, okay, wide and deep. So that is our maximum limit, just because that's how structure blocks work. When you right-click on the structure block, you can go straight away to size for the X. I'm going to start off with 32, and I'll tell you why in just a second, and Z. We make that 32 as well. All right. So the reason I've done 32 by 32 is because it shows you the halfway mark. right? And then if I'm going to make, for example, a floor out of ice, let's say my new environment is going to have a winter theme. I'm going to grab some ice blocks. So I'll grab some blue ice, some packed ice, some natural ice, and maybe kind of get some snow as well, and some snow. So let's say those are the 4 textures I want to use to create my space. So let's go over to the end of my 32 by 32, because that's the halfway mark. It's going to help me identify where that is. So I'll just put one there and I'll just dash across. Do you know, I could also use, what's that white stuff over there called? That would work. I reckon that would work well. All right, so that's, I've set up my halfway marks. Sometimes it's good to know where the middle of something is, when you're making a floor or you're designing an environment. So now I'll come back here, and in this window, I can see which parts are going to be captured. I do notice that it's going to capture below 1 and above like 3 or 4. I don't need that. So let's change the Y coordinates actually just to 0, right? And I don't need it to capture 5 above. Just 1 actually is plenty, because we're only going to create a floor space. So that's good. Now you can see that's the area it's capturing so far. But let's go back and make it 64 by 64. And you can see I've got my halfway points still. All right, I'm now going to design my floor, and I'll come back when I'm finished, and we'll export it and then bring it into Frame VR. Alrighty, I have finished my floor. I've kept it very simple. I just want to give the feeling when visitors are there that they are actually walking on something. And I've gone with kind of the ice ocean kind of iceberg theme, because that's the sort of theme I'm going for. So while I got building, I decided to add a few elements above just that one layer. So if I right click on the structure block, so that's the shape. I don't know, kind of weird, hopefully kind of interesting. You can see I've used different textures, I don't know, to make a simple floor just a little bit more interesting. I don't know how the transparent ice is going to go. I don't think it'll be transparent when I export it. All right, as I said, I need to increase the height of the capture area that the structure block does. And of course, that is the Y coordinates, X, Y, Z. I need to increase it. So let's make it, I think it's 5. So now you can see there's a tiny little bit of snow, a little bit of ice on there. And those little ice cube things, I figured I might use them as a pedestal to mount artwork on or something. Okay, so that's ready to export. I do need to use this drop-down menu and scroll down to 3D export. That's the preview. And now I'm going to hit the export button, and it's going to ask me where I want to save it. I'm just going to put it in my documents folder. Of course, you need to know where you're saving these things, right? I'm going to call it ice floor, all one word. And you'll notice the file type is a GLB. All right. It's really important that when you're working in digital content, that you always know what the file type or the file extension is. .glb is a 3D object file type. So let me hit save, and that's done. All right, I've signed into my Frame VR account. You can see framevr.io is the address. With a free account, you can get 3 different frames, and each frame can have 8 people at a time. If you want to have more, then you have to pay, I think the next level up is a $10 a month. But I think the free one will work for me. So let's click on Create Frame. I'm going to call this one Iceberg. ICE. Of course, it has to be a unique name because it's going to be part of the web address. So if Try and keep it unique, but also meaningful. In the environment that you can see here, there are lots of really interesting environments, and I'd recommend that you try some of these out. Give them a go, explore what kind of metaverse environments might look like when you spend the time learning the skills. Incidentally, these are created with Blender. So Blender is a free program. It's suitable really for maybe year 9 and 10 up in terms of skill level. It definitely has a place in New South Wales high schools to learn Blender. But for year 7, 8, 9, Minecraft is also a really good design tool, which we've used today. Let's go down at the very bottom of the environment list is an environment called empty. There it is, empty. That's the one that we want today. Beautiful. I am in my frame called Iceberg. You can see the top left-hand corner, the URL, framevr.io/iceberg. That web address is unique. It's mine, and I'm the administrator of this part of the metaverse. Top right-hand corner is the drawer icon. And when you click on it, you can then load up your Minecraft build as the actual environment. So let's go looking for that option. So frame settings, click on, here it is, environment, where it says empty. And then we've got the button that says upload custom environment. That's exactly what we're going to do. And the paperclip here is where it wants me to attach the environment. I can either click on the paperclip or in the empty space, and it will load up my environment. There it is, ice floor. All right. And click upload. We'll give it a few minutes to upload and then process. Awesome. I can see my Minecraft build is here. Now I'm left clicking on the mouse and holding it down in order to move the camera around. But I notice that I have spawned into a spot where I'm now stuck. That's fine, because I need to add one more thing before it's ready for other people to join me here. And that's something called a spawn point. So down the bottom of your Frame VR window is a control bar. If you click on the plus button, there is something here called a spawn point. This is an absolute must. Before you give anyone the link to join you in your metaverse area, use the spawn point to give them a starting location. I usually like to call these something like welcome or begin or start, or even the word hello. Let's do that. I'm going to call the spawn point hello. There it is. And I want to go to edit mode just to move my spawn point around. So let's go to quick settings and just turn on edit mode. There it is. To see where your assets are, to resize them, to move them around, you've got to be in edit mode. And you should restrict it so that only administrators can edit things. All right, there's my spawn point. I'm going to just shift it over that way a little bit, shift it over this way. Remember, it's a 3D environment. So you're going to be working with these gizmos that control up and down, left and right, and forwards and backwards. And you'll use those gizmos to position elements or assets inside your bit of the metaverse. Okay, I'm going to turn edit mode off. And now that I've got a spawn point, watch what I do. I'm going to add something to the URL, the link that I give people. It's a hash, HELLO. So hash and then the name of the spawn point. That now forms the complete link for visitors to come into your area. And then when I use that link from now on, you notice it puts me in that very same point. Last thing I need to do is put a photosphere around my floor to give the environment a little bit more context and meaning. And I've already downloaded a photosphere. In fact, it's a photo that I found from Antarctica because I wanted to continue the idea of mountains and snow. So I'm going to use the plus button again down the bottom, hit plus and add a 360 photo. and click Browse and click Open. Now, when you add a photosphere, there's a couple of settings that you should switch so that the photosphere stays open and your environment stays visible. So let's find those settings to make sure your visitors get the full experience. So head to your Frames menu and then open up the Frame Settings menu and scroll all the way down. Where it says Show Environment when spheres are open, keep that ticked. And if you don't want anybody else to close the sphere, then you need to make sure that you've made down the bottom photospheres is admins only can interact with them, not your guests. I'm going to scroll back up and I'm under my quick settings. I'm going to go into edit mode because I just want to move the photosphere so it's not sitting here kind of randomly. All right, let's move it so it just sits above. It sits above the. Oh, I got a snowflake. I've just been downloading a snowflake. I might put that snowflake. Just going to put it all the way over here and put it over here. And there's a fun thing we can do with 3D assets and elements when they're in your metaverse. Bottom left-hand corner, I've got this control panel. I'm going to make it spin. All right, well, there we go. I'm really well on the way to filling up my metaverse with interesting things for people to come and interact with. I made a simple floor in Minecraft Education Edition. I created an account in Frame VR. I downloaded the photosphere using the app, and I'll pop a link just above to show you which tutorial to watch on how to download those photospheres. I'd love you to come and visit my finished space whenever you want to have a look how it turns out. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, of course, please reach out to the STEM.T4L team, either in the Facebook group or in the Yammer community.